Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for downloading Beer Nuts for free on iTunes or from ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate Beer Nuts 5 stars on iTunes and help to tell others about Beer Nuts by leaving a comment. Thank you for following Beer Nuts on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast and on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. Please like the Beer Nuts Podcast on Facebook to like and share Beer Nuts. If you'd like to donate to Beer Nuts, you can click on the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net. If you use Amazon.com, please click and bookmark the Amazon link at ChristopherMedia.net. It will not cost you any extra money, and you will help to support Beer Nuts. If you're looking to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media uses HostGator to host all of the shows produced by the Christopher Media Network. When you click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net and sign up for HostGator, you are helping to support Beer Nuts. TheBroBasket.com. Guys are tired of all those boring socks and ties. BroBasket is the answer to the age-old question, what do I get a guy? We know that choosing the perfect gift for a man is a difficult task, but not anymore. TheBroBasket.com is here to help. We all know men are hard to shop for, but what do guys actually like? Their favorite alcohol, that's what. It could be craft beer, wine, whiskey, scotch, or tequila. TheBroBasket.com will put it in a gift basket full of their favorite gear and goodies. You can customize your own BroBasket or choose from a variety of different BroBaskets, like the Ultimate Import Sampler, the Jack and Coke gift set, or the Junior Executive gift basket. Boozeless but still cool BroBaskets are also available. TheBroBasket.com gives you many shipping options to choose from, including rush delivery and Saturdays. 21 and over, please. State and local laws apply. Beer, wine, and liquor are not available for shipping in all states. You can help to support Christopher Media by clicking through the BroBasket.com banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Alcohol gift baskets. What men really want. Men used to be hard to shop for. TheBroBasket.com.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of Beer Nuts. I think this is episode number 62 or 63, losing count. Welcome, everybody. We are going to do this episode on collaboration beers. With us today in our studios, we have Dugout.
Hey, how are you?
We have SAK.
Good evening, everyone.
Beer Nut in our last episode. So welcome, Greg.
Hello, beer lovers.
Glad to have you back. So we're going to start off the show by inviting everyone, as we always do, to crack open a cold one or a warm one if you have a high-gravity stout that doesn't need to be chilled, and enjoy a beer with us. There's room for our table for everyone of all levels of craft beerdom, from a newbie to a seasoned veteran. So cheers, everyone. We're looking forward to tasting some really good beers tonight, collaboration episodes where one or more breweries or two or more breweries get together, share their expertise, and brew some really, really great, interesting beers. So we're going to start off the show with a quick quote tonight, and this is from the infamous Helen Keller. Quote, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." Appropriate for a collaboration episode.
Absolutely.
So everybody take a sip, and who would like to start us off tonight with our first beer? How about you, Greg? You're the newest guy on the block, so tell us what you got.
Well, tonight I'm drinking collaboration number 6 from Boulevard and Firestone Walker, which is an American Strong Ale. Big boy beer, 12.5%. It's 45% Boulevard Bourbon Barrel Quad, 35% Firestone Walker Sticky Monkey, 10% Boulevard Imperial Stout X Tart Cherry Whiskey Barrel Age, and 10% Firestone Walker Velvet Merkin. It is absolutely delicious. It smells wonderful, like dark cherries, vanilla, a lot of dark fruit. Tastes about the same. Excellent, excellent beer. Love this thing.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I mean, anything that Firestone Walker puts their hands on, and you think of a beer like Velvet Merkin, and that you would mix it with something like, oh my God, no, don't do that. But that sounds incredible.
It is absolutely amazing. I am so glad I picked this one out.
Hold on one second, guys. Oh, what was that? Doug, doesn't everybody have one of these lying around?
One of those? No, I don't have one of those laying around.
Well, John was kind enough to provide us one here. And he's getting some glassware, so we will be sampling alongside.
All right.
I was looking up the information on this, and it sounded delicious.
So essentially, like, from what I understand, these guys took finished product and then blended them, and then barrel aged the two finished products in a blend. Am I correct?
That's my understanding.
Pretty much correct, yes.
Okay, all right. So we're just so early into the episode, and we're getting into a kind of what types of things happen during collaborations. So there's an instance where you take two finished products and blend, or the other instances where you have a couple brewmasters that get together and they brew a beer start to finish together.
Nailed it right on the head there, Doug.
So fun to start out with something that's, I mean, when I think of collaborations, I always think of what I just said, where it's the brewers all get together and they all have a party and throw a bunch of stuff in there and put some credible things together and put out a finished product. So that's cool to hear the flip side of it, where you're taking nearly finished product, combining it, and then aging it in barrels.
Do you guys know of any other collaborations where they blend a stout plus a quad?
I mean, no, I don't think I've ever heard of that at all. I mean, I've heard of it being done, but not as a collaboration. But that's pretty cool.
I mean, it really works together. Of course, if I'd been smart, I would have brought a quad and a stout and then tried this beer. But this is really, really tasty.
Or possibly mix up your own version with that stout and quad.
That sounds like another episode of,
yes.
What's this, cuvee or Suvet or?
Cuvee, yes.
Alone
Cuvée,
we can do
yes.
so little. Together we can do so much. This is fantastic.
All right. Beautiful.
Good choice. I had actually picked this out in anticipation of this episode, only to find out that you already had everything. So it's good that we're all drinking it. Sorry, Doug Out. I guess you're left out, so I guess you get to go next. Any other comments on this one before we turn it over to Doug for the next beer?
What I have, which is
really a lot
for
going
me,
on
absolute
here.
perfection, though.
Pardon?
It's I was worried when it said tart cherry, but it's not in a bad way at all. It blends well with the quad, with the dark fruits of the quad, and it's really, really a very enjoyable beer that I'm really happy to be enjoying.
Yes.
Good selection, Greg.
For you as well. Thank you.
Great minds think alike, they tell me.
We'll go with it.
I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Firestone Walker. Always been one of my favorites. Maybe a little bit more newer to Boulevard. Not as close to them. But I've often said here in Michigan that if I could beg for one more beer to be distributed here, it would be Firestone Walker.
Amen.
And that's like the last,
I agree.
last beer that I really want here.
Huge fan. Known that head brewer for a long time, since when he was in the 90s, and man, does such incredible things in great ways. The IPAs, the double IPAs, the quads, the bourbon barrel age. I mean, everything from that brewery just seems to be so spot on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had a bad beer from them. I mean, and to add on to that, everything I have had from them has been phenomenal.
Couldn't agree more. It's really just one of my favorite breweries. Went back to Las Vegas where I used to live, and I've got a lot of friends in the beer business back there, and fortunate enough to go to an event. And I'm not really big on beer swag. I've been there, done that, given more out than I could ever get in return. But there was an event where they had a really nice Firestone Walker hat that I had to have, and I knew a couple of the guys working the thing, and I won something that I didn't really want, and I went back and I said, please give me that hat instead, and I got it. So my one shameless time when I had to have something, and I did get it. So I do have my Firestone Walker hat. But Firestone Walker, hopefully somebody from your brewery is listening now. Please bring your products to Michigan, please. Now that you're with Boulevard and Omegang, you have a pretty good network set up. All we're asking is, that's the last brewery I'm going to ask for. If Firestone Walker comes here, I'm done. I won't ask for any more, until the next great brewery comes along, probably. But as of right now, that would be my one request. So another winner from Firestone Walker, and certainly Boulevard plays a great role in that too. Good that they're set up as a network now, and we'll have a beer a little bit later of a network of breweries that are now being distributed together. But for now, I think I'd like to turn it over to Doug, because I'm sure he's probably really thirsty over there hearing about this one. So Doug, take it away.
Trust me, I haven't been holding off the whole time. I mean, I've got a 750 here, and
I know you well enough to know that.
Sometimes those 750s take some work as the show goes on. I mean, especially if you're sampling or reviewing more than one beer, and maybe you do have two 750s. But anyways, get ahead of myself. I have one 750. It's from a couple of favorite breweries of mine for specific style. Second one being a couple different styles, but as far as IPA goes, Coronado Brewing out of San Diego does some pretty incredible IPAs. And then the collaborator on this one is from Florida, and we kind of all know and love them as Cigar City Brewing. So Cigar City and Coronado, and the beer I have is Conquista, and it's an India Pale Ale, 6.5% alcohol. I did not see an IBU on this one, but here's what I do know about it. It features, there's a couple of new German hops that are making their rounds, and actually some of them are quite popular. One of them is Mandarina. We've talked about that. I've brewed with Mandarina before, but this specific one that features is Polaris. And Polaris is known for really high alpha acids. To me, it's gonna bring the IBUs and the bitterness way up in when you brew, but also has sort of a pineapple and a bit of herb notes to it. So very distinct, unusual hop. But it is soft, I can tell you that. I mean, this particular beer pours really, really light gold. Almost looking lawnmower beer on the color on this, very straw-like. It's got a really nice head that's very long-lasting. The nose you get off of this is definitely fruit, some earthiness, and then the sip you get tanked with a bitter. It's got a very bitter, dry finish. It's not sweet at all. There's for the type of beer it is, I'd say very unbalanced in a great way. Very low malt flavor to it. Just really the hop profile takes over on this. I think it's outstanding. I mean, I could put down, and this is where the 750 comes in. I wish I had another 750 to follow this one up. It's a really easy drinking. It's not super huge on the alcohol, so of course there's no burn to speak of. I think they just did a phenomenal job in showcasing the hops in this beer.
Well, you were jealous of ours, and now we're jealous of yours.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a really winner. Where did you find this?
I believe I found this in a grocery store in Toledo, Ohio. And hell, I'll give them a shout out because I love these guys. It's Walt Churchill's Market in Maumee, Ohio, which is a suburb of Toledo, and some incredible beer selection, really knowledgeable people working there, great food, great drink, just a really fantastic supermarket that just happens to have a great beer selection. So, yeah, if you're ever in Toledo, that's a place to hit.
I was going to say I didn't think this was a Michigan distribution, so good to know that it's still within an hour drive, though.
Well, and I think I'm back there in another week. I'll see if there's any more of these laying around. If I swear to God, I will buy every bottle they have that's on the shelf on this. I love beer like this. It's great.
All right. Sounds like we're 2 for 2. So, any other comments before we move on? Because I think we've all started some big beers here. It's almost tough to move on from what we have. How else could we fill airtime before we have to drink the next one?
It being April 1st, and I was going to threaten to bring a Miller Budweiser collaboration beer over here.
Ooh.
Well, did anybody see the new Stone IPA brewed with asparagus today?
Oh, yes. I figured that was April
That was
Fool's
an
joke.
April Fool's joke, thankfully, because there was a lot of comments and about how that was going to leave your body with the odor that your urine.
Well, let's just be open and honest here. I mean, if you think of an asparagus beer, the first question anybody is going to ask is, oh, my God, how bad is your pee going to smell?
Well, fortunately for me, when I was a kid, my dad made me eat asparagus. It was one of the only things that I just could not eat, and I threw up all over the table, and he never made me eat it again. And to this day, I've never been able to eat, smell, or taste asparagus. So that wouldn't be in my repertoire.
And Right Brain Brewery out of Traverse City actually does a asparagus beer, spear beer, I believe it's called. I've actually had it. It is pretty good. I'll give it that. Not something I'll seek out every day, but it is very good.
It's not something I'll ever seek out.
All right. So what's the next beer?
All right.
One,
Well,
by the way,
I
if you
guess
see
it's time
it,
to move on.
But yeah, what's the next one?
I did see some other good April Fool's jokes, but let's keep the ball rolling here because I've got a beer I can't wait to open, and it's called Bible Belt. It's a collaboration between Prairie Artisan Ales and Evil Twin Brewing, and I know it's really, really good. I've had it before, but it's been a while. I can't wait to drink it, so I'm going to crack it. And SAK is here. You're going to have. I'm going to let him pour it first. Thankfully, there was no Miller Bud collaboration for April Fool's Day. But we always do tell everybody that we're not pretentious. So, I mean, there are people that like fizzy yellow beers, and our goal is to introduce them to more flavorful options. But actually, before I get into this, I want to just give a shout-out to our buddy Mike from Atwater. I saw him today at a sampling at our local favorite beer store, the Discount Drinks in Wyandotte, Michigan. And he was doing a little promo, and I'm pleased to say that he's really looking forward to doing a episode with us. I don't know how we went from Bud Miller Coors Fizzy Yellow to Atwater, but Atwater is a local Detroit brewery, and I actually kept an open mind today and tried their lager, and kind of feeding off our last episode where I had a really nice Pilsner. They make a really solid lager, so look for that to come soon. But for now, bigger and better things with Bible Belt. I've just poured this out. It's black as coal with a little bit like a light brownish to like beige tan head that really barely exists after about 5 seconds. Not a lot of carbonation on this. But the aroma is just unbelievably tempting. And when you smell, I'm definitely smelling, oh man, it almost smells like there's some cinnamon or something. Nice, but yeah, I'm smelling some cinnamon here, but it smells so good that I just can't wait to drink it. So I'm going to dive right in. And oh man.
I did not wait my turn there. I jumped in before John.
Well, I'm at a loss for words, so you can go ahead and review.
Well, I know that this is one of those stouts that has cacao and vanilla and peppers, and it has a little bit of more flavor from pepper than actual heat. Certainly a lot of vanilla, maybe some cinnamon up front. I mean, it's very, very complex, and it's very, very tasty.
It's so complex that normally a beer like this, I would assume that it would be barrel aged, but it doesn't need to be barrel aged. There doesn't need to be bourbon. There doesn't need to be oak influence. There is so many good flavors here, and there is a barrel aged version. Don't get me wrong, that's fantastic too. But this stands on its own. It's kind of reminds me of Stone Zokovica, only maybe to the next level. Definitely, I get vanilla, I get cinnamon, a little bit of pepper. Actually, probably a significant amount of pepper. Great base stout, nice and full full-bodied mouthfeel, creamy.
Very reminiscent of Hanapu as well.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, probably. And Zokovica, Hanapu, right up the same, that same category of nice, hearty stouts with, complexity, multiple flavors, a little bit, love that spicy pepper attribute that it has. And I knew going into this episode that this would be a winner because pretty much anytime you get anything from Prairie, let alone Evil Twin, because they're both great breweries. I mean, these guys have knocked it out of the park with this, and I have to admit I've had it before and I knew it would be good, but it's always good to revisit stuff that maybe you haven't had. It's probably been a couple of years since I had one of these. Hopefully it won't be long before I have another one, because definitely a home run, probably grand slam, actually. Other comments?
I wholeheartedly agree with you, John. That is a fantastic beer. I just had that recently myself, and that's complete perfection to me as well. So.
Well, and it's a style that both breweries do very well and are very comfortable doing. So when they put their heads together, it just sort of amplifies what's great about the particular beers they each do. And it just becomes a sort of a super beer in a way.
You're right. Both of them have excellent stouts by themselves, excellent imperial stouts, and both breweries have done a very nice job of turning the flavored stouts, without being over the top, or all their flavored stouts are very solid as well.
Well, as I always like to do, there's not a whole lot on the label to read, but I want to read what there is because it doesn't need really a lot of description. But I did neglect to mention the coffee in here because there is a distinct coffee in here. But it says Bible Belt Even More Imperial Stout, aged on coffee, vanilla, chilies, and cacao nibs, distributed by our friends at Shelton Brothers, made by people who truly care, from Oklahoma with love. So thank you for the Bible Belt. It's a fantastic beer, and if you ever see this in a store, pick it up because it's generally not always on the shelf. I know where we are in Michigan, it hits the shelf and disappears rapidly. So on those rare occasions when you go in and you see it, grab it before it disappears. It doesn't last long.
This is true.
Alrighty then. Anybody else have anything coming up? S and I have 2 more beers here, but we hate to keep it all in this room. Do you guys have a second option, either of you, or is it just all our show from here on out?
I think it's your show from here on out.
Well, it's our show, so you're going to have to live very vicariously through us. I'm going to
wipe the drool.
I hate to go away from this Bible Belt, but the show must go on, so I'm going to leave Steve's SAK's beer for the last selection because it's a whopper, and I'm sure that well beyond our airtime we'll be enjoying it. But I'm going to introduce the next beer, which is a triple collaboration. I had mentioned earlier that we had another beer that had Here's breweries that have banded together for their distribution. And we have a beer here called Triangulation, which is a triple collaboration between Perrin Brewing Company here in Michigan, Cigar City in Florida, and Oscar Blues in Colorado. And, well, they also have a second brewery in North Carolina. But so we're going to pour this out. It's an oatmeal stout, I believe. Imperial oatmeal stout. So never had it. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to pour it in. Oh, really nice tan head here. As you would expect from an Imperial oatmeal stout, it's black as coal. Nice malty nose on this. Actually getting a little dark fruit on the nose too. And upon tasting this, the first thing that jumps out at me is the full-bodied, creamy mouthfeel. Really nice body. It's really a little bit sweeter than I thought it would be. But very enjoyable. Very kind of get a little bit of each brewery in there. I mean, the kind of like a little hint of 1050 from Oscar Blues. Steve, S has probably been to Florida more than me. But Cigar City, what would Cigar City's addition be to this? What's their base stout?
Maybe Marshall Zukoff?
Yes, and Perrin. I guess No Rules, but No Rules is a little more complex than this. It's probably the base for New Rules. But really, it's a pretty darn good beer, well constructed. It's hard to review this after a Bible Belt because there was so much going on, and this is more of a base without multiple flavors. So it's kind of going backwards. We probably should have reviewed these in opposite order, but certainly nothing to sneeze at here. This is really nice oatmeal stout, and for people like Dugout who like a little bit bang for their buck, looking for the ABV on this, but it's Imperial, so it must be. There it is. It's 9%, so not too shabby. Not too shabby. 3 breweries. For those of you that don't know, Cigar City. I guess I think it's Fireman's Capital might be the parent company that I believe has invested in all 3 of these breweries now at this point. So they're all under the same umbrella, which will give them some clout with the distribution angle. Where you have Cigar City in the south, Perrin up in the Midwest, and Odell, not Odell, the food bar, Oscar Blues out in Colorado on the West Coast, and also with a new North Carolina presence. So these, you got, and it even has on the label, it has a map of the United States with all 3 of those states highlighted and a triangle between them. Hence the triangulation. So it's a pretty cool tie into our collaboration where 3 breweries have, gone under the same umbrella to strengthen their clout in the craft beer world and in terms of distribution and getting their beer out in the marketplace. And I'll vouch for all 3 of those breweries. I love their beers. I love 1050, one of my favorite all-time stouts, which is from Oscar Blues. Perrin, of course, as Michiganders, has really come on the last few years. Their signature beer being No Rules, which was just released last week. And I have purchased a few bottles, but haven't had the 17 vintage yet. But it's a real big hitting beer at about 15% with some coconut in it. So, and Cigar City certainly needs no introduction as one of the premier breweries in all of the United States with, of course, their High Lie Pale Ale is one of my favorite pale ales that I've ever tasted. And I think SAK is one of his all-time favorite beers, being Hunapoo. So a lot of good things going on with these 3 guys. So go ahead, Doug.
Well, and we've already done the second collaboration with Cigar City. The previous beer was with them as well.
Absolutely. So it's a great collaboration, not only for this beer, but for these 3 breweries to be able to piggyback on each other to, get their beer in more people's hands in more areas. So that's what it's all about. Getting more good beer in more good beer in more areas of the world and the country. So that being said, I think we're down to our last beer, unless anybody have a story or something to break this up, because we got all these great big hitting beers, and I've got glasses in front of me full of great beers and feel like I really need a break or something.
This is like the collaboration between Doritos and Taco Bell.
Oh boy.
Well, my favorite collaboration was Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell with that naked chicken chalupa. I couldn't get enough of those, and I can't tell you how good that thing was, man. And I thought when I heard that, I'm like, this is not going to be good. And I went up and I ordered one, and it was so good. The next time I ordered 3, and I went back a couple times, and every time we go to Taco Bell, I'd order that. And just the other night, I went back and I ordered a couple of those, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have those anymore." And I was like, I was devastated. I was devastated. The naked chicken chalupa is limited time only, gone forever. Well, maybe they'll bring it back.
Rest in peace, naked chicken chalupa.
I wonder if it would pair well with this. I think that pretty much anything would pair well with the beers we're drinking tonight. And they're high ABV and starting to feel pretty good here, guys. What about you guys? Now, Doug, you got to be sneaking something else in here while you only had one beer tonight. Or are you still drinking that same one? It was a 750, though, wasn't it? Have we lost him?
Uh-oh.
You there, Doug? All right. How about you, Greg?
Man, I'm still on that same one. I filled that thing to the top of my glass, my Michigan Beer Guy glass, and I'm still hitting this thing, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Oh,
I'm sleeping good
tonight.
tonight.
750, a collaboration number 6, and we have 2 of us here, and that's staring us in the face too. I don't know how I'm gonna sleep really well tonight. I know that.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be an Uber night tonight.
So we've talked about doing a collaboration episode for a long time, and I'm really happy that it's finally here. There's so many that we've just had come and gone. And, last week I had a beer that was, I thought it was a Stone beer, and ended up being Stone, Odell, and Marble breweries all collaborating into a hoppy wheat beer. And wow, what a treat that was. Just phenomenal stuff. And I love seeing these collaborations because you can't go wrong. Have you ever had a bad one? I mean, any of you?
Never.
No, I wanted to mention one, too, that is one of my favorites, and I know I talked to you about this the other day, Doug, out. The guava beer that Shorts makes. What is it? Freedom of 78?
Freedom of 78 with Half Acre Brew.
With Half Acre.
Out of Chicago.
Shorts and Half Acre, and I don't know when it comes out. I'm hoping in the spring because that means it's coming soon. But it's one of my all-time favorite IPAs or pale ales, whatever they categorize it as. Unbelievable! I love guava fruit. I seek out any beers made with guava, and it's really something I always look forward to. And whenever I see it, I'm grabbing it.
I believe they had a small release in, I want to say February, late January, early February, right around there. And there's still some floating around in the market.
Well, I'm going to have to do a little homework and find out when that comes out or if it's already been out. Always a favorite whenever I see that one. Any other collaboration beers anyone else can think of that's
I was actually going to consider bringing one that was a bummer. Was I can't remember whether it was Floyd DeRue or Rue de Floyd. My wife and I have one in the cellar, and it was one of the ones that was supposedly infected.
I know that they just released some recently, a new batch of those, and I'm supposed to be getting one of those. So hopefully that one is not infected. But I heard it's a great beer, but I also heard that certain vintages had some problems. But when not infected, I heard great things.
I don't know the entire story behind it, but I think that it was the same formula, and they brewed it at the brewery, and then they brewed it half at Three Floyds, and one of them became infected. I don't know if it was the stuff that was brewed in Indiana or in California, but apparently one was phenomenal and one was infected. They did, I think it was Three Floyds, did actually buy back or exchange anything that people returned. So they did stand by their product.
Well, it's an inexact science and stuff does happen, but we always respect the brewers that make it right with their customers. Any other collaboration beers any of you guys have to comment on before we move on to the grand finale?
Just one last one.
One that I've never been able to get a hold of yet is from Old Nation and Dark Horse, the German Hobo. That would be a fantastic one, I think, to try out. I don't know if anybody else has tried it.
Just saw it at Discount Drinks the other day. I had a 4-pack in my hand for this episode, and then I found the collaboration number 6. So I dropped it for that.
There you go.
That being said, it's right around the corner from you, Greg. I'll be glad to grab 4 of them, and you could have 2. How about?
Yeah, I frequent that place once in a while, so I'd be glad to head down there as well. So, and you'd be good to know that Shorts is offering Freedom of 78 at least in April, this month of April, which is good to know.
Yes, that is great news.
That's according to their website too. So,
I remember actually tasting that on one of the very first episodes of Beer Nuts a long time ago. And that was when we were still driving up to St. Clair Shores to Christopher's house, which we quickly learned was a bad option because the rides home were challenging. So, and you know, we want to appeal to Uber again. You know, we've reached out to their marketing department time and time again. Come on, we'll give you so many free plugs if you just give us a couple free rides here and there. It'd be great to get together again.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's the only way to go if you're going from St. Clair Shores to Downriver. Uber's where it's at. There's no way with the beers that we drink that we should be on the roads. And we do the right thing now. We Skype in.
There you go.
All right, I guess it's time for the grand finale. Unless any final comments before we go to the end here, because Dugout, anything else?
Well, here I am. I'm afraid that this has been over-promoted. This, what I'm opening up now is called Class of 88. It's a barley wine, collaboration between North Coast, Deschutes, and Rogue. This was put out about 3-4 years ago. This was a Best Buy date of 2014. It was an American barley wine, which would tend to be a little hoppier, but I would assume after sitting in the cellar for 2-3 years, the hops would have fallen off. Now, certainly North Coast is probably best known for their old Rasputin, barrel-aged Rasputin, their Grand Cru. Deschutes just recently started distributing in Michigan, I'd say within the last 2 years, John?
Correct.
Rogue was probably had a much better distribution in Michigan for years and years, although I have to say that I've never been a big Rogue fan, so I'm looking forward to trying this beer because I'm a big Deschutes fan, a big North Coast fan, and kind of I would say a detractor of Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue gets a bad rap, but I've had good stuff from Rogue and I've had horrible stuff from Rogue, but you know, they're Rogue. I mean, they try different stuff, and you know, you get pink bottles with like pretzels and donuts and all kinds of weird ingredients. And some of them are actually not that bad, and other ones are repulsive. So
they cultivated that one beer from the Brewer's Beard.
Yep, that's true. From the yeast.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Cultured the yeast from the Brewer's Beard.
I wasn't going to do that.
That's a little foul to me.
I wouldn't do that. I saw it. It hung around the grocery store forever, too, and grossed everybody out that put their cart by it.
Shout out to Nathan Peck from Beer Church Brewing Now, who's been on our show before. He's got a good brewer's beard that could have been cultured from his beard. But I just got a glass of this. It's actually a really nice dark orange color, like a ruby orange. Smells really good. Smells like a barley wine. Wow, and it's a little sweeter than I would. There's a little sweetness to this. There's a lot of malt going on here. I mean, easy to say malt bomb, but I'm sure whatever hops are in here probably have faded. There's still some pretty significant hop influence.
There is. There's more hop than I would have expected, actually.
I'm a sucker for a good barley wine, and I'm a big fan of this. I'm liking it a lot. And I wasn't afraid when S said that this was going to be. I guess it was supposed to be drank by 2014. I mean, in barley wine lifespan, that's not too bad to be 3 years past the drink by date. I bet this could go another 5-10 years, no problem. It's really good. It's really good.
We have a lot of good beer sitting on the desk here.
This is insane. We should have like 6 people here to help us drink what we have. It's gonna be a late night. Wish we could beam you here.
These are all really good.
I'm trying to think of better descriptors about this beer. I'm getting hops on the aroma, but I almost get a little bit of sweetness on the aroma. If that makes sense, almost like a orange. It's not like it's very smooth. It doesn't really kick you in the butt when you drink it. It's like it's mellow. The edges are off of this. When you have a fresh barley wine and it kicks you in the pants, and I'm sure this is going to kick us in the pants, but it's hiding the kick. It's really pretty smooth and mellow for what it's going to do to us. What's the ABV on this thing?
I think the ABV is about 10 or 11. It's not a real heavy hitter compared to some of the other stuff. 10.2%.
Okay, well, that might be a good thing because it's really pretty drinkable for a barley wine.
Would it be rude to say that this is now my favorite Rogue beer ever and my least favorite North Coast beer ever at the same time?
No, there's no right and no wrong with craft beer. It's what you like and what you feel about it. I'm pretty pleased with this though. Thanks for sharing it. All right, a lot of quietness other than my motor skills are starting to deteriorate, so I'm going to mute my microphone and somebody else. Anything to add? I guess we're wrapping up the show now.
You certainly made the rest of us jealous with what you guys had the last few beers here. So
well, we wanted
really
to have a barley
phenomenal,
wine show.
every one of them. I mean,
how do you do a barley wine show? Everybody will be crippled by the end. We need to get a weekend where we can go camping, where we have some kind of connectivity, and just get a cabin or something and have like the mead show, the barley wine show, all the big hitters. And just be able to, build a campfire and crash when we're done. That's what we need to do. But, we've had some really good beers tonight and some really big hitters. And I feel like we've left you guys out. We got 3 world-class beers in front of us. Actually 4. And you guys only had 1 each. Boy, I feel guilty.
Next episode, we'll get you back.
I hope you do.
Yeah, I don't feel left out. I'm still on my Conquista. I mean, this beer just rocks it, man. I got to tell you, just the collaboration with these 2 breweries alone is going to be spectacular. But I love Cigar City, and we've mentioned them a couple times tonight. They've been in 2 different reviews, and I think one of the things they do the best are their IPAs. And as well as Coronado's IPAs, sometimes are just really off the charts. So I don't feel bad. I mean, I got a great beer in front of me. I could sip it and listen to what you guys have. Feel a little jealous that I don't have it, but enjoy what I have in front of me.
Cheers to that, Doug. I agree with you.
Well, you guys are good team players, and so are our listeners. So thanks for putting up with our strong beers here. As you can tell, my motor skills are deteriorating fast, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys to close out the show.
Oh, before I leave, I had to give a shout out to my coworker Kathy and her husband, who are beer drinkers. Cut their teeth at Bell's in Kalamazoo, and I promised to give her a shout out, and she would. They rewarded me with a couple of growlers from her local brewery. So, shout out to Kathy and her husband.
What brewery would that be?
I don't recall. After a couple of these beers.
Well,
Right.
as you can tell,
It
collaboration
kinda
beers.
Yeah.
Looks
Kick-
like
We're
they're kicking
collaborating
something.
on killing some brain cells.
We're all
tonight.
collaborating to head to
It's a controlled
Mexico,
environment.
right?
If we had any left.
So
I would have to say that the Collaboration 6 is probably the one I like the most. I like the fact that I do believe, not knowing the whole backstory, but I do believe that they took their separate individual beers and then blended them together and bottled them, whereas opposed to the other ones, they probably all met at one location and then were brewed in one batch. I think the Collaboration number 6 is definitely a unique way of doing it with all those various big beers that they mix together.
I have to agree with you, Steve. I think that takes things to a new level as far as collaboration. And, it's like making a stew out of 3 different main course meals, so to speak. And, everybody knows when you take a little bit of beef and some carrots and vegetables and some potatoes, and then you mix them together and get this incredible stew that's way better than each of them on their own. Then hey, blow us away with those kinds of collaborations. I mean, that takes things to the wow level, and it's some really respectable breweries doing it too.
Well, you know what? I have to say, after having 4 great beers in the room here with S, I was 100% convinced that Bible Belt was my favorite until I had that barley wine. I'm a sucker for barley wine. It's a much different style. The Bible Belt, fantastic too, but that barley wine really is warming me up. So my beer of the night is that barley wine that S brought. Love it. Steve, what's your favorite?
I like the Collaboration 6. I appreciate the fact that you took 3 or 4 phenomenal beers and mixed them together, and then aged it. It's all delicious. It works together. Again, kind of unique to do a quad with a stout to me, but it works. Especially having a cherry stout.
All right, guys. Well, I guess you guys don't really have a vote because you have 1 beer each, and yours are also beers that I'd love to try. What a cool episode. Good idea, dug out to have this, the collaboration beers. Always look forward to seeing these in stores. We all have choices to make in the beer aisle. Whenever I see a collaboration beer, it always intrigues me. And when there's breweries that I revere, I always have to. Curiosity gets the cat, and I'm usually never disappointed. So, closing comments, anybody? Or is it time to go to Mexico City?
Yeah,
Time
I
to head
think
to
it's
Mexico
time.
City, for sure.
Okay, then, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode. I'm sure that Chris can dub in the comments about tweeting and Facebooking. But for now, as they said, old Mexico City.
AMF.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.